welcome to Asian Pulse Television. I'm your host, Brianna Prasad, and thank you for tuning in to your informative educational network. We're broadcasting from the unceded territory of Semiahmoo, Katzie, Qualiton, and Musqueam Nation. We're grateful for the first people of this land for sharing their beautiful space with the rest of us. I'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. Thank you, sponsors. If you'd like to be our sponsor and provide sponsorship in any segment of the show, get in touch with Camilla by calling the number 604-537-5123.
क्या आप अपना ड्रीम होम खरीदना चाहते हो या अपने घर से पैसे निकालकर अपने किचन या अपने घर को रेनोवेट करना चाहते हो लेकिन बैंक्स ने आपको मना कर दिया है? मैं एक इंडिपेंडेंट मॉर्गेज ब्रोकर हूं जो कई बैंक्स और क्रेडिट यूनियंस और प्राइवेट लेंडर्स के साथ काम करता हूं।
For more information, please call Vic Prasad at 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is one of the top brokers of Invis Craft Mortgages and is also a member of the Canadian Mortgage Brokers Association of BC.
For any kind of visa-related services, contact Milky Way Immigration, a galaxy of opportunities located at Unit 209-9547 152 Street, Surrey, BC. They have licensed immigration consultants, placement officers, and LMIA experts to meet your immigration and recruitment needs. Book one-time free consultation either on Facebook or by calling 604-396-0005.
Namaskar, Adab. My name is Sashi Singh. आज आपकी मुलाकात एक ऐसी हस्ती के साथ करवाना चाहता हूँ जो कि करीबन 30 साल पहले वैंकूवर शहर छोड़कर द सिटी ऑफ ड्रीम्स मुंबई के लिए रवाना हुए। वहाँ पहुंचकर फिल्म, संगीत और मौसीकी की दुनिया में एक अपना अहम पहचान बनाया। As a writer, as a producer, and as a RJ, radio jockey. आप हैं अनिरुद्ध चावला।
So, मेरा तकिया कलाम है, which on radio is this how I address my fans. Hello, hi, hi. मैं हूँ तुम्हारा, सिर्फ तुम्हारा, RJ अनिरुद्ध, आपके लिए सिर्फ आनी। Such a pleasure and such an honor.
सबसे प्रथम अनिरुद्ध, वेलकम।
Thank you so much, really.
गुस्ताखी माफ करना, गुलाम अली साहब का गजल से एक लाइन चुरा रहा हूँ।
अरे इरशाद।
इतनी मुद्दत बाद मिले। हम दोनों की दोस्ती तो बहुत पुरानी है, बहुत गहरा है, लेकिन जो यादों का गुलदस्ता यकीनन ताज़ा। Your story, Anirudh, is incredibly inspiring and motivational. And today I would like you to connect the dots. यहाँ से आप भाग कर गए बॉम्बे। वहाँ के पागलपन में how did you maneuver and how did you achieve such acclaim and fame? But I would like you to start in the beginning. Vancouver से शुरू करते हैं and I'll set the stage for you. After UBC, वहाँ से आपने डिग्रीज लेकर ग्रेजुएट हुए, फिर वहाँ से tell us, a starry-eyed young man, क्या हुआ वहाँ से?
So, आपने शुरुआत की तो हम भी कुछ थोड़ा शेर अर्ज करते हैं क्योंकि I'm a big जगजीत सिंह फैन। कोई समझेगा क्या राज़े गुलशन जब तक उलझे न कांटों से दामन।
वाह वाह वाह।
So that is the story of my life, that you know that sometimes you have to go through that, उस पथरीले रास्ते से गुजरना पड़ता है, and then you find that guldasta at the end of it. But it's been a very extraordinary journey because actually my journey started in Mumbai because that's where I was born. Then I was in Delhi as a kid. I was in Nainital as a boarding school guy. Then we shifted to Canada.
How old were you when you shifted to Canada?
I was just 16.
Just 16.
So, you know, so that, and I think because I was 16, that's one of the reasons कि अभी तक मेरे अंदर वो Canadian accent नहीं आया. I was very much Indian. तो वो हिंदुस्तानी पना मेरे अंदर वो बिल्कुल मनोज कुमार पना मेरे साथ पहले से ही रहा.
अच्छा.
And that's why it was easy when I got into Radio Rim Jim, that because I didn't have an accent, they accepted me right away. And because I was full of all these, I was crazy about Hindi films and songs, for which I have to thank my mother dearest, who of course says, तुम सबको बताते रहते हो कि मैं तुम्हें सारी पिक्चरें दिखाई पर मैं तुम्हें पढ़ाई भी करवाई, but I said मम्मा थैंक यू, वो इतनी सारी पिक्चरें देखी और मैंने गाने सुने उसकी वजह से, गाने मैंने सुने रिम झिम पे, and because of that I got, so जब मैंने ज्वाइन रेडियो रिमझिम तो होता क्या था कि ऐसी भी फिल्मों के नाम 11,000 लड़कियां, फ्री लव, तो मैं फिर वो गाने सुन के फिर मैं वो पिक्चर कमल्स वीडियो पैलेस से या कहीं और से आई यूज्ड टू गो इन द वीडियो पार्लर से मैं उनका कैसेट लेकर आता था और पिक्चर देखता था. सो एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ इट आई हैड बिकम लाइक अ विकिपीडिया बिफोर विकिपीडिया एग्जिस्टेड. एंड सो व्हेन तो मेरे अंदर वो जज्बा था कि मुझे करना है, फिल्मों में जाना है, ये करना है. उस टाइम पे कुछ नहीं था, OTT, ये वो नेटफ्लिक्स, अमेजॉन, आजकल कुछ नहीं था. बट आई सेड आई हैव टू डू इट. एंड किस्मत देखो ना, there's always a catalyst in your life. So हुआ ये 1995, I went to India on a holiday and Sachin Pilgaonkar, the actor, you know.
Sachin, yes,
हाँ,
yes, of course.
अखियों के झरोकों से गीत गाता चल, सत्ते पे सत्ता, नदिया के पार. So he was a family friend and मैंने उनके एक show.
So how old were you at this time?
At that I was 25.
So you were already out of university.
Yes, यूनिवर्सिटी में अच्छा ये भी I have to say कि यूनिवर्सिटी के बाद I did try to sell insurance for 1 year. I flopped miserably, but ironically of course many years later I'm selling my book very successfully. So कहीं ना कहीं वो insurance के भी गुण मेरे अंदर आ गए थे, maybe unknowingly. So I tried doing that whole finance route, BCom किया. And then one day, like in a very filmy, dramatic fashion, I walked out of my MBA class because I realized कि भाई माँ बाप के पैसे क्या बर्बाद करना. And by then I had got an offer from Sushma, who I was very grateful for. She was my first guru. She taught me everything I know about radio. At Radio Rimjim, I was there from 90 to 97. So 95 में जब मैं छुट्टी पे गया था तो सचिन जी का एक शो आता था तू तू मैं. It was about सास बहू, in which his wife was there, Supriya and Rima Lagu. तो उसका एक शो का मैंने कोई एपिसोड लिख लिया होगा, वापस आ गया, इस समय राइटर्स की जरूरत है, अब आ जाओ. And that spurred me on because you always need that one person to push you. तो interestingly enough मैं उनके भरोसे इंडिया आया, सोच कर किया उनके साथ काम करूँगा, and for various reasons उनके साथ काम नहीं कर पाया. But I always till today, in fact in my book I have acknowledged कि भाई he is one of the people who brought me to Mumbai. नहीं तो मैं कहाँ था, कनाडा के ऐशो आराम छोड़ के वहाँ के locals में धक्के खा रहा हूँ. That was a big thing. People thought कि तो एक साल में वापस आ जाएगा. But I always say to everyone who's watching this, अगर आपको किसी चीज़ की ख्वाहिश है, you will not achieve it. ख्वाहिश means desire. A desire ये नहीं तो कोई और पूरी होगी. But I always believe that आपको किसी चीज़ की ज़रूरत होनी चाहिए. You should have a जुनूनियत. तब when you think that this is what I need, that is when you'll achieve it. So I had decided कि come what may, I will hang on in India. And I was very lucky. I started my journey with All India Radio. I did everything. That time there were shopping malls starting off. I used to host there. Imagine karo. I used to host in shopping malls, like they had a product launch. I'm talking. So that's how I got my confidence. I was writing a bit for television. I wrote for a very famous TV show in India called Khulja Sim Sim, which was hosted by Aman Verma. It was a very big show on Star Plus, big game show, which was one of the first game shows which became very popular in India. And All India Radio, then Radio City, and then Big FM. These were the 3 big channels so I became one of the top 5 RJs in India. And what was really fortunate was my timing, because I came to India at a time when a lot of the legends and superstars that I had grown up idolizing, and I'd made a list that इसी बहाने में उनसे मिल भी लूँगा, उनका इंटरव्यू भी कर लूँगा. So I got the privilege of interviewing legends who are no more, for example, like Rajesh Khanna.
And I have seen some of those interviews.
Sunil Dutt Sahab.
Incredible.
Devanand. Some people were still there, like Asha Bhosle ji. And so many of them, from Amitabh Bachchan to Rishi Kapoor to Jitendra to so many people who are not there. Lata Mangeshkar ji. And in fact, the whole book ka Genesis.
We'll be talking about that.
Yeah. So, and that was something which I was like, wow, I'm talking to these people and they're respecting me because thanks to all the movies I saw with my mother and all the songs I heard in Radio Rimjim, they had forgotten their own songs and films. And I was reminding them of that,
So, Anirudh, हमारे जो दर्शक हैं उनके लिए slow down a little bit, because I'd like your story also to inspire aspiring young men and women. So it seems like your foray upon arrival in Mumbai, your foray into this dunya was quite immediate and quite automatic. Tell us a little bit about the struggles or the hardships that you encountered as you maneuvered.
See, as I said to you, like I did practically everything. I did small roles in TV shows also. The whole key thing is that you have to believe that all work is hard work and good work. So you can't be on your high horse that, oh, I've come from here, or I want to become a star, I want to do this. You have to do everything
I
that is
like
possible.
that. I like that philosophy. All work is good work.
Yes, all work, as long as it's honest work. Of
Honest
course,
work and
yes.
hard work.
So I believed in that. So I didn't have a problem in hosting shows. I mean, I'll even give an example of, so that time doll was just being introduced in India. So they were having a show, product launch in one of the malls in India, which was in Mumbai. And at that mall, they were going to have this Cinderella Barbie being launched. So they dressed me up as Prince Charming, and I had to go to all these 6-year-old girls who were coming there, in the mall, and we had a small glass slipper, and if it fit them, then they got the Barbie doll. So, like, imagine I'd come from Canada thinking I'll do this, I'll do that. I was doing that, and it was good fun work. I mean, yes, you may feel that, oh, what am I doing here in a shopping mall? But I believe that, as I said, all good work is good. And it gave me a lot of confidence also.
Yes.
So, when I was hosting shows, that I'm going out there amongst the audience, then even, for example, that time television was a big deal. That was also another, I would say, a little asmanjas or a dilemma that I
Confusion,
faced.
no.
That should I go into films, or should I do TV, or should I do radio? Because radio is where I came from, but TV and film is obviously the glamour part. But I realized that TV mein I'll just become another devar, another boyfriend of the heroine, and I wanted to be known amongst, even if it's amongst 10,000 people. And radio, I was just lucky that I came at the right place, the right time, in FM radio, where private channels were just starting off. So they kind of grabbed me with both hands. But it was tough because interestingly enough, at that time, I met Vivek Oberoi.
Achha.
Because I had written for a film called Dil Lagi with Sunny Deol, Bobby, and Urmila Matondkar. I was one of the co-dialogue writers. That was in 1999 when I actually wrote for that film.
So you were one of the co-dialogue writers?
Because I had
That's
just
pretty
come
impressive.
to India, and I'd come through somebody, and they said, oh, we want a writer who has just come from abroad, because the film is based in London. And Sunny Deol was directing the film himself. So I was like right away thrown into the deep end of it, meeting all these big stars, Sunny, Bobby, Urmila, and working with all these, such a big unit. But then there was a lot of ego clashes. I could see that I was this young guy. The screenplay writer was like feeling very insecure because I was giving Sunny ideas. And so I could sense there was a lot of tension, and I had to go through all that, and I realized there was a lot of psychophancy. You have to go into a particular camp. So all that was like if I'm talking about Sunny, like I'll give a small example. At that time, Virasat had just released, and I was like praising Anil Kapoor, and I was taken aside by one of the assistant directors, and she said, look, in Sunny Deol's camp, you can't talk about Anil Kapoor or even about Kamal Hassan. So it was very interesting. So then I realized I'm not ready for this. I need to have a financial, so I will always tell all aspirants, you must have a plan B. You must have a stable financial job, which gives you a stable income every month. That is when, so I was at a crossroads, because that time I met Vivek Oberoi, who was just, he had been about to be launched with Sathya and Company. And he gave me the offer that, why don't you work with me? And I want to work with good writers. When I become a star, he had a lot of confidence. So I was at that crossroads, should I join Vivek or should I join this radio station, which was Radio City? Because in All India Radio, it was like a government channel. I wasn't getting that much money. So then I took the big leap of faith, and I said I should do radio, stabilize myself, then follow my film dreams.
Achha, so that's how you got into radio.
Yeah, like in a full-time way. I was doing it part-time.
And this was with Radio India?
With Radio City.
Radio City.
Yeah,
Radio
and that's
City.
when, and then I also, you have to be strategic if you're in India. So I said, okay, if I want to get to know these film stars, what better way than to start interviewing them? When they're on their best behavior, they're coming to launch their films. So I met everybody from Us Zamane ke actors, from Rani Mukherjee, in Black, who had released, Amitabh Bachchan, Sulekar, all of them, Juhi Chawla, Preeti Zinta.
We'll talk about some of those personalities in a minute.
Yeah.
So let me just understand this part. So the environmental change from Vancouver, यहाँ का calmness and serenity, arriving in Bombay, the acclimation process for you was, actually it seems like quite good. You were quite tenacious.
See, again, as I said, because I had been raised till 16 years in India, though I was in Delhi.
So that made the difference.
That made a difference. The second thing was the sheer hustle and bustle of Mumbai, which is it has a crazy energy about it. I love that. If you stop to think, "Arey, yahan pe kitni gandagi hai, ye hai." I always believe, this is another favorite philosophy of mine, that aap apni jannat kahin bhi bana sakte ho. You don't need to have the most picturesque mountains and the seaside for it. Not every person is lucky to live in Switzerland, or
Absolutely,
Vancouver.
or Vancouver.
Yeah, so you need to be happy where you are. And I realized in Canada, in Canada I would have become, I thought of becoming a bank manager, for God's sakes. I would have been disastrous. In India, I was living my life. And yes, you have to struggle. Like, for example, even my living, again, I was a bit fortunate that I first lived with my mama's house. Then somewhere else I lived as renting an apartment. All those things you have to think about, that where I came from.
And you come from a family that was reasonably well established in India as well.
So those compromises you do make, for God's sakes, hanging on for dear life in a local train, it's pretty dangerous. I mean, it's not so fun as you watch it on television. You almost can lose your life. But then you have to decide, this is what I want to do. And India was changing, a lot of opportunities were coming. And as I said, I did everything. I did television to make money. I was doing radio. I was interviewing actors. I was doing a bit of TV acting also on the side. So then you find your niche. You figure out key. And I will again tell people that do where you think your expertise lies. Like my funda was ki there are 1,000 TV actors, like all lining up to become TV actors or film actors. But radio people were few and far in between. So I chose a path which was less traveled, and there were lesser aspirants for that position.
And you were able to create some opportunities
my expertise
from that.
there. Yeah, exactly.
So your story reminds me of the legendary Amin Sayani in Binaka Geetmala.
Absolutely.
So मुझे ऐसे लग रहा कि you are the reincarnate of Amin Sayani.
Oh, I believe I'm at least his spiritual successor, is the way I look at
क्या
it.
बात है?
Ki I feel that I'm kind of carrying forward his legacy of the people that he interviewed. That now I'm there, who has managed to interview everyone from a Rishi Kapoor to his son Ranbir Kapoor to Randhir Kapoor to his to Alia Bhatt, Neetu Singh. So I feel I'm fortunate that I've lived in a time. I also came at a time when a lot of the legends I wanted to meet were alive. Unfortunately, in the last 10-15 years, so many of them went away. So that was a great time, when I came.
So your amazing story as a Vancouverite, it makes my heart glow. Because
see, it's not easy. It's not easy. Like, I'll give you also an example. I also directed a film called Sabki Bajegi Band. It was a comedy film, which you can catch on one of the channels. And it took me 5 years to complete that film. In the sense, I met 3 producers. One producer turned out to be a fraud. Another producer kept me waiting for another year or 2 years. And then he said, sorry, I can't make the film. And everyone was telling me that you're crazy. You're already a successful RJ. Because, in 2010, I started that parallel journey of my filmmaking also. Okay, so now that I'm settled, I can start, hunting around. So I would go around with my script. So like, it was a very funny incident where I interviewed Shilpa Shetty for a movie. And then I said, oh, well, now I would like to remove my hat of my RJ. And now I would like to narrate you a script as a writer. And she was like, okay, it was so funny. Nobody had ever done that to her before. You have to be like literally, as the word they say is besharam.
And spontaneous.
Yeah, you cannot be like, arey, usko kya lagega? Forget that. You have to just take the moment. Ki, I'm not going to get the chance to meet Shilpa Shetty again. This is the chance. So it took me a lot of years. Then I realized ki the stars liked my script. I met everyone from Imran Hashmi to so many, Aftab Shivdasani, those time pe sab famous the. And they all loved my scripts, but they said, oh, but I'd never assisted anybody and I'd not gone to film school. So again, you have to have the audacity. If you're in India, you have to have the audacity. You can't say, arey, I'm not educated. Do you know how many Indian actors, they probably haven't even completed 6th class? So I said, oh, okay, I have to do this. So then I realized, okay, let me start with a subject where I don't need a star. Because if I'm, with the star, to koi aa hi nahi raha hai. So then I chose a subject which was it was a comedy subject. I found a small producer who said, okay, I'll put in 1 crore rupees. I said, you better do. Chahe, 1 crore mein main picture bana lunga, but wo pura paisa hona chahiye, because I had enough of all these fraud producers and people latkaing you and showing you the earth and the moon and the stars. And my friends told me, you're already a successful RJ. Why do you want to get into this film world, which is, full of all these frauds and this and compromises, and you hear all these nasty things about casting couch and other things which are partially true also, and other things also. You make compromises mentally also, creatively also. But I said, no, I have to release my film. So I went on and on and on, and in 2015, the film released, Sabki Bajegi Band. And then that made me realize, okay, now my name is in Wikipedia, IMDb. Now I feel I've achieved something, one milestone.
So we are constrained
Yes.
by time. There's a couple of other things that I want to discuss with you. Please tell us about this amazing book that you've written on the Nightingale, Lata Mangeshkar.
So I look at it as the climax of my career in India, that, whatever respect and goodwill I earned. So when she passed away, I got an offer to publish the book. And it was, again, my privilege that 20 years back, I had interviewed her at a time when there was no digital, no Google, Nothing. I just interviewed her from the Dil Se interview kiya, and she gave me the longest interview of her life, which was 8 hours over a period of 3 sessions. And I just kept the audio recording by some magic. And so many years later, when she passed away, I converted that into a book, which is like her, because she never wrote her autobiography. So this is almost like her autobiography, Tere Sur or Mere Geet. And essentially, in fact, when I interviewed, I asked her, ki, if you ever were to, write your own book, what will you call it? And she said, I would call it Maze Gaane, which in Marathi means my songs. And so when I decided to name this book, I said Tere Sur or Mere Geet. So it was in a way fulfilling her dream. And she talked about everybody in her life. She gave a tribute. And I was just the right person, the right time. I don't know. This is what destiny is. Maushmi Chatterjee, the actress, introduced me to her as a birthday gift and said, oh, I know you want to meet her. And she agreed. And there were so many big journalists she could have interviewed. But at that time, she wanted to tell her life story. So she talked about everybody from Rajesh Khanna, Amitabh Bachchan, Raj Kapoor, Nargis, to Yash Chopra. Everybody she gave a tribute to.
What a fitting dedication.
And what was more beautiful was, after the book got published last November, and it's available on Amazon, by the way, in case you're in India, and if your relatives are there, please do get it from there. And also you're in Vancouver, it's the India Book World. Right. It's available there. But what happened, in Surrey that is. So after I interviewed her, the book came out, and it was a privilege for me that Poonam Dhillon, Padmini Kolhapure, Anup Jalota, all of them came for the launch, and Asha Parekh wrote the introduction of the book.
I'm going to interrupt you, and excuse me for that. That was a great dedication for Lataji. Achha, you have a surprise for us as well. मुझे ऐसे कुछ खबर मिला कि ज़ीनत अमान के साथ में कुछ program होने वाला.
So yeah, यहाँ पे I want to just end with this, that the most beautiful part of this book journey was meeting all the legends that Lata Mangeshkar worked with. So the last 7 months of my life have gone in interviewing Hema Malini and Jitendra, Neetu Singh, and Pyarelal ji, Anand ji bhai, all the stalwarts and legends, Mandakini, all these, Sharmila Tagore ji. So I had the privilege of giving them the book, which you can catch on RJ Anirudh Chawla official, that's on Instagram. You'll see my interviews. And one of them was Zeenat ji. And that's when I gave her the idea that, look, and I told my publishers, I said, look, you know what, Lata ji has passed away, and now हम ताली बजा रहे हैं. किसी के चले जाने के बाद हम उनको याद करते हैं. Why not celebrate the legacy of legends who are still alive? So we decided to start with Zeenat Aman. It's a big privilege because she's an Instagram darling these days. Like, she's everywhere. The new generation loves her. The old generation adores her, idolizes her. I'm sure you would have fantasized about her at some point.
What an amazing.
So we are going to be starting a number of shows called Ye Sham Mastani. If you're in India at that point in October 5th, 12th, 18th and 19th, Mumbai, Delhi, Jaipur. And we're going to be taking her story. It'll be like a musical biography of sorts, where she and I'll be sitting on a sofa, sharing all her anecdotes from Dam Maro Dam to Chura Liya to Satyam Shivam Sundaram, Laila Me Laila, Kurbani, Feroz Khan. It will be amazing.
Anirudh, we have to have a sequel.
Absolutely.
We have to have a sequel. I cannot thank you enough for your time and sharing your beautiful journey with us. So I know you're going back home tomorrow. On your next trip, let's sit here again and continue.
I want to say one last thing, that Sashi Singh was the man who was my manager when I was an insurance sales agent. And so many years later, I have to thank him that time I couldn't sell insurance, but somewhere what he taught me must have stayed on in my head, that today I was able to sell all my Lata Mangeshkar books. So it's a very interesting 360 degrees how we have met.
Absolutely.
And you're part of my journey.
And you have grown beyond that, Anirudh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
For any kind of visa-related services, contact Milky Way Immigration, a galaxy of opportunities located at Unit 209-9547 152 Street, Surrey, BC. They have licensed immigration consultants, placement officers, and LMIA experts to meet your immigration and recruitment needs. Book one-time free consultation either on Facebook or by calling 604-396-0005.
Please have your pen and paper ready to jot down the numbers of any events happening. Willow Rugby Tournament is taking place in Delta on August 17th and 18th. There will be over 25 rugby teams from all across Canada participating at this tournament. For sponsorship or more information, please call Sela at 778-713-2418. The 13th Annual Missouri Vegan Festival is taking place on September 28th at 6 p.m. at the Macy Theater in New Westminster. For tickets and more information, please call 604-521-5050. If you're organizing any events in your community and you would like for us to promote it for you, please email us at asianpulse@gmail.com. We've run out of time now, and I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I do enjoy bringing it to you. If you ever miss our shows, you can always tune in on Shaw Cable every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m., Thursdays at 8:30 p.m., and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. All of our shows are broadcasted in Calgary on Channel 10 on Shaw Cable Network and also get uploaded to our YouTube channel under Camilla Singh Shows. Before I leave, I'll leave you with these thoughts. You can't control anyone's actions. Loyalty comes from the heart. It's hot out there. Keep yourself hydrated and keep an eye on people who are elderly, babies, and pets. The best way to cool down is to drink as much water as you can. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you next week at the same channel at the same time. I'm your host, Brianna. Bye for now.
क्या आप अपना ड्रीम होम खरीदना चाहते हो या अपने घर से पैसे निकालकर अपने किचन या अपने घर को रेनोवेट करना चाहते हो, लेकिन बैंक्स ने आपको मना कर दिया है? मैं एक इंडिपेंडेंट मॉर्गेज ब्रोकर हूं जो कई बैंक्स और क्रेडिट यूनियंस और प्राइवेट लेंडर्स के साथ काम करता हूं।
For more information, please call Vic Prasad at 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is one of the top brokers of Invis Craft Mortgages and is also a member of the Canadian Mortgage Brokers Association of BC.
For any kind of visa-related services, contact Milky Way Immigration, a galaxy of opportunities located at Unit 209-9547 152 Street, Surrey, BC. They have licensed immigration consultants, placement officers, and LMIA experts to meet your immigration and recruitment needs. Book one-time free consultation either on Facebook or by calling 604-396-0005.
क्या आप अपना ड्रीम होम खरीदना चाहते हो या अपने घर से पैसे निकालकर अपने किचन या अपने घर को रेनोवेट करना चाहते हो, लेकिन बैंक्स ने आपको मना कर दिया है? मैं एक इंडिपेंडेंट मॉर्गेज ब्रोकर हूं जो कई बैंक्स और क्रेडिट यूनियंस और प्राइवेट लेंडर्स के साथ काम करता हूं।
For more information, please call Vic Prasad at 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is one of the top brokers of Invis Craft Mortgages and is also a member of the Canadian Mortgage Brokers Association of BC.